Okay, so that's not me either. But this is float therapy. It's a tank that looks sort of like a big egg. It is filled with 200 gallons of water and 900 pounds approximately of Epsom salts. It enables you to float effortlessly and reset your senses. It's incredible. Andy Larson is the owner of Float Milwaukee. It's a new spot in Walker's Point that offers float therapy, red and near infrared light treatments. And recently I got the chance, right, Andy, to experience both of those things.
Absolutely. It was great to have you.
Great to see you. I was reading an article about you. You actually came from the corporate world, right?
I did, yeah, corporate tax world.
And why did you decide to make a switch? And like, hey, I'm going to run a float therapy place.
Well, I actually just sort of randomly heard about floating and I thought it sounded cool, so I found a place to try it. And at the end of that first hour, I just sort of disappeared from the world and I was just like, what is this that just happened to me? I felt amazing. I'd never felt that good in my life. So I researched it, saw all these benefits that it provided, and I was just like, I want to do this more, and I want people to have access to it because I think it could help a lot of people. And that's the very short of the long story of how I then decided to kind of do my research and go down the path of opening it. So that was like 9 years ago now.
Incredible.
So,
and you can tell meeting you, being in this beautiful facility, it's so clean, it's so comfortable. You can tell that you're passionate about it. So let's talk about floating.
Sure.
Okay, this is a video showing this guy. You go in like this egg, and of course my first question I think people are going to want to know is, do you feel claustrophobic?
Right.
You got to tackle that part first.
Absolutely, that's like the #1 question we always get. So the pod, which this is a little model of it, it does have a lid like this, but it's domed, so it's pretty big inside, and you have total control, so you can leave it cracked open, you can open it and get out if you need to. If you turn the light off, it's so dark it feels like you're in the vastness of space, so it's kind of like the opposite of claustrophobia. And then in addition, we have some open pools, so people that are still a little unsure, they'll often just start in the open pools that don't have any lid, and then they can just sort of get used to what floating is, and then often they'll then try a pod later.
I'm going to be honest with people. I thought I was going to have an issue with it. I did when I had an MRI, for example. It's nothing like that. I mean, there's so much space in the tank. I had it shut the whole time, and I was perfectly comfortable. You can't touch the ceiling. You've got lots of room. So I'm glad that you tackled that. Let's talk about the benefits of this, because it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's the resetting of senses. Really.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's a wide variety. Like probably the top ones are just kind of your straight relaxation and stress relief. But there's a lot of benefit to like chronic pain. So we get a lot of people with fibromyalgia or MS or just different like chronic pain issues that'll use it. Symptoms of PTSD and anxiety it can really help with. There's actually clinical studies out there showing how it helps. We get a lot of like veterans, for example, that come in to use it for that. Insomnia, recovery. A lot of professional athletes have added float tanks to their training facilities to help with like mental focus and recovery. So that's just some of them. There's really quite a bit. It can, a lot of different people get different stuff out of it. So.
Well, I had rotator cuff surgery in the last year, and I noticed how it's like I was totally pain-free. I mean, it was such a great feeling to be there and to do float therapy. Let's talk too about the other treatments that you offer, because we talked about red and near infrared therapy. It reminded me of, it almost looked sort of like a tanning bed.
Yeah, it's very similar, like look and feel, but no UV or anything. So it's called Novathor, and so it's a whole body treatment that uses near infrared light and red light. And so the red light hits the surface level, so it'll help with like blemishes and scars and hair, nails, things like that. Whereas the near infrared light penetrates into the cells and actually stimulates your body to make more energy. And then that helps with everything from healing quicker, recovery, energy, a whole host of different things. And so we added that about a year ago. It's a really nice complement we found to floating. It's a 15-minute session, so a lot of people do it before their float, and then that helps them to kind of get into that float mindset.
And that's what I did.
That's right.
The red treatment before I went into the float. It was a really nice combination, and it felt really like getting away. And I think that's the thing that it offers people, is along with stress and relaxation and stress relief and recovery and muscle soreness, is just that opportunity to let your mind kind of not focus on the day and stress.
Be away from your phone. Like, I know that it's hard to be away from your phone, but like sometimes it's good to get like even like an hour away from everything, just to like, whether you sleep, some people just fall asleep and have like their best like rest in there because there's no, gravity or anything on your joints. And some people use it to, just kind of escape and focus, and yeah, it's pretty great.
It is. It is. I want to talk about the experience too for people. You brought this because this is something that I used when I was in the tank. To just kind of rest this floats, but just kind of rest your head and neck. Yep.
Yep. Exactly.
Because sometimes it's hard to relax enough to just float, but it was kind of a nice guide. And everything that you have here is what's provided when you do the float. You don't need to bring anything.
Right. Yeah, we actually have had, it doesn't happen that often, but every once in a while we'll have someone just walk off the street and be like, what is this? And if we have an opening, they can float because we have everything, towels, shower products, hair dryers, everything you could possibly need. And it all has a purpose. So it's all very much to make sure that anyone who comes in is very comfortable and, can be as comfortable as they want to be and need to be depending on their situation. So that's why we offer, like a loofah and earplugs and petroleum jelly for like if there's a cut or something you want to cover. So,
and you have the shampoo, you have the body wash. It all smells fantastic. And then you have the opportunity to relax after too, because you have tea there. It's spa-like.
Yeah, it was very important to me to have not only have it set up so when you walk in the door you immediately are like, and you kind of leave everything behind you before you've even floated, but also to not be rushed out. So some people will stand there for an hour afterwards and like write in the journal or look at what people wrote in their journal after they floated, or like you said, sip some tea, chat with like another guest about their experience, or chat with the staff about everything. And it's just really a awesome feel and just relaxed atmosphere for people to feel safe and comfortable.
It really is. We ran out of time, but quickly, how often should someone float to get the true benefit?
The more you float, the better, obviously, but if you can do once or twice a month, ideally is great. With, we get people that do it maybe once or twice a week at the extreme.
Incredible.
So, yeah.
That's not too extreme, I don't think. I think that's fantastic. It was great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for my first ever float experience.
Thank you for doing it. It was great having you in.